There is no team that leads the league in stupid fucking hockey team more than the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not just talking about the way they play or the decisions that are made or what they do in some scenarios. I'm genuinely talking about the reaction following what is one of like the worst stretches of hockey, from opening puck drop through to, I don't know if you want to say 50 minutes into the game. I don't know if it probably started kicking around where you started to see some sense of life, maybe even later beyond 10 minutes left in the third period when we start to go, oh, wow, okay, you've got life. Maybe you can create some chances. Maybe you do have something to you. And then it's like, well, here come the Maple Leafs. 1 goal, 2 goal, 3 goal, and they win the game in regulation. Like, we're going to break this all down here tonight on the postgame show and react to everything that just happened, what we just saw. From this Leafs team. And we'll go through the entire 40 minutes. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that this team is too good to be a like bottom 5 team in the league and a team that's going to get that lottery pick, basically, unless you're just going to trade away everybody. Like if you have Nylander, if you have Matthews, if you have Tavares, I think you're just going to be too good to be in that spot. So you still want them to find ways to win, and you're still happy as a fan about them winning games. But we'll break it all down here tonight because there was some dumb shit taking place for the Toronto Maple Leafs before they found a way to turn this thing around and win this hockey game. And I want to break this all down with our guest of the night, Nick Alberga, who's going to be jumping on in 1 second. Just before he does, just a reminder, tonight's show is a presentation of Bet365 as always, and proceeds from our super chat do go to Sick Kids Charity, Canada's #1 research intensive hospital, #3 in the world. Last year on this show, as well as Leafs Money Take combined, $4,400 plus raised between the two shows. So you want to get your question, your comment, your thought, your concern, whatever it is, read on the show, send those in. And just another programming note, later on, following Nick Alberga, we will be taking callers on the postgame show here tonight. But with that, let's get to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dressing Room Interview himself, the Golden Muzzy. Nick, how are you feeling after that? Oh, there we go. That's a way to start it. The smelling salts right off the bat. We might as well.
How am I feeling? I don't know what the fuck I just watched. In the course of 2 minutes, as Jay Rosa went to coach his kids' team, the Leafs started playing hockey. Love to know where you stand on this team right now, Zach, firstly.
I can't take anything from this game seriously. And I know that's like a cop-out because we just watched them win and there's a lot to break down, but, you know, we were like 3 minutes away basically from coming on here and probably having an absolute torch fest. So it's good that they won and you get to escape the game with 2 points. Like I can't poo-poo that. That's a positive thing for these guys, but that's a terrible hockey game. Like, let's call it what it was. Craig Berube calls out the team. He calls out the leadership. We're talking about, you know, how atrocious the Saturday night game was, how sloppy things were, and you're thinking at bare minimum tonight, no Connor Bedard for the Chicago Blackhawks, no Levshinov for the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, okay, here's a chance for you to come out and make a statement and bring some intensity and show up ready to play. And they didn't. And Berube's losing his shit. And then you go to the second period, and then they didn't. And Berube's losing his shit. You go to the third period, and to start the third period, Nick, they still didn't. It still took a bit into the third for them to start to figure something out. So, all in all, like, atrocious fucking hockey game. And these people need to be going home at night, whether you were a fan who paid $400 or whatever the fuck you had to pay to get into the arena tonight, or the guys on the ice who were part of the win and thanking whatever god you pray to, because there is no reason that the Maple Leafs should have won this game. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, you're right. And man, I'm so curious to see what the headlines are from this game. Is it like Matthews steps up to the plate? Because on my screen right now, I just did a post-game interview, and it's like he was awful tonight, okay?
Awful.
The stat after the second period at 11 seconds of puck possession time. But again, this is what great players do. They find a way, right?
That's one way to put it.
Too positive. Yeah. I don't have an answer for you. Like, I'm really still in shock. Like, I was going to come on here and say, like, I had never felt once in that game that the Leafs are going to win that game. And then they score the barrage. And it's like so hilarious to me that they score on the power play of all places. And it's the captain of all people. Like, of course. And then they get a bounce. Like, it was a very Leafy win, but a big goal there for Dakota Joshua. But that's the curiosity for me, is like what the headlines will be following this game. Because you're right. For about 55 minutes, it was absolute ass. And it started again with the captain. After he was called out, their leadership core was called out by their coach, man. Like, yeah. I'm not kidding. I think they saved Craig Berube's job tonight. Like, if the Leafs go on to lose that game, if you're Brad Treliving, I don't know how you don't wake up on Wednesday and make a decision one way or another, whether it's, Berube, Savard, somebody. Like, somebody's head had to roll. And I truly believe and feel like, they may have saved his job, ironically enough.
It's kind of funny that you bring that up, like saved his job. We were talking about it, like, is this kind of the end of the Berube's leash here in Toronto if this is the way they go out tonight? Because it's a character issue. It's an effort issue, regardless of how you want to put it. And I know that there's a lot made, and I'm looking into this too, and I think that there's something to it with Auston Matthews being injured, because we can look at production, we can look at an impact on the game and suggest, hey, coach impacts that, and it probably plays a role, and line mates impact that, and it probably plays a role. I'm not going to doubt those things, but like when you look at the stats Mike Johnson brought up and the speed and the bursts and how hard his shot is, those things are also pretty indicative of somebody with a pretty serious injury here right now. So you're kind of looking at it and being like, okay, yeah, that's all part of it. But you look at all the combinations of everything that's going on, and you're looking at this team. They played like 50 minutes worth of fuck this guy hockey. We don't want Berube here tomorrow morning. And then they got, like, do you watch Love is Blind? I don't, but I know the premise of it.
I have before.
Okay, yeah. So they like have to agree to marry the person before they get to like have any serious sort of thing. And then a lot of people are pulling cold feet because they're like, oh, fuck, I don't know if I really want to do this. It's like the Leafs are playing their own version of Love is Blind. Like 50 minutes, they were like, fuck this guy. And then they got to the altar, a little inverse here. They got to the altar and they were like, I don't know if I actually want to get rid of him. Let's win this one. And I was like, why? If you do that for 50 minutes, you probably beat this fucking team 7-0. Like, they're not very good. They got a great goaltender. They got a lot of young kids who are going to be really good, but they're missing Bedard. They're missing Levshinov. Like, you should have been able to take advantage of it. You should have been able to fucking step up here to the plate, and showing it in the last 10 minutes is all that much more frustrating because it's like, you got it in you, man. Why don't you just do that?
Rope-a-dope, right? Like, it reminded me a lot to an extent of that Pittsburgh game on Prime earlier on in the year, where, we're ready to fire everybody after 40, then somehow they come back in the third period with a crazy, crazy comeback. But yeah, I'm, again, at a loss for words. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, the Leafs when he take bump is real. Big-time goal to get this team going. I look across the board and I'm like, who really had a strong game outside of maybe Joseph Woll? Like, it was an ugly like game to watch.
I'll give you two guys actually, which is kind of unfortunate. Sorry, I know you have more to say there, but I just want to jump in. Two guys that actually stood out to me. One was Ekman-Larsson, who I thought still played well here tonight. And the other guy was Scott Laughton, which there's people in this chat who are going to say, look at this guy's glazing Laughton again, which I've been prone to do here on the postgame. But genuinely, like, Scott Laughton was very good tonight. For what he does and how many minutes he plays in the role he's given, I thought Scott Laughton was very good. Those are the only two guys that I looked at and was like, they played 60, they worked hard, they did their jobs, they did the little things. Sorry, continue.
No, it's okay. Like, which is weird to say because of what Craig Berube had to say after that uninspiring effort against Edmonton. Like, it really was bewildering to see the way the Maple Leafs started that game. Like, it could have easily been 3-0. They called the goal back. Good challenge by the Maple Leafs, but I did not think in my wildest dreams that's the way they would start this hockey game. And granted, again, let's not bury the lead. The Leafs won. Great to see Auston Matthews on the board, gets a goal and an assist, and all is forgotten on this night as they get set for this road trip. But it's just pretty crazy to think about the path, the direction, how they got to that moment to win that hockey game. Like, I'm still really, really stunned a couple minutes after the game here.
Well, it's an awful game. It's a shorthanded goal. Your power play stunk again. You couldn't break anything out cleanly. Defensively, you weren't very good. I was watching like Mike Johnson and Gord Miller on the broadcast in the third period. Mike Johnson started being like, I don't know if you caught this, but he'd be like, watch this. Chicago would dump the puck in or lose it. Even if they would possess it in the offensive zone, they would lose it. And he'd go, watch this. 5 Chicago guys in the neutral zone. And all 5 Chicago guys would skate back to the neutral zone. And he'd go, transition and regroup. And before it even happened, he would say it. The Leafs would skate out from behind their net, try to make a pass in the neutral zone, turn it over. Chicago would come back the other way. And it was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, struggling to move up the ice, struggling to break pucks out, struggling to make anything positive happen, struggling in the offensive zone. Power play wasn't very good. Joseph Woll was fine. Like, this is not a Joseph Woll night. He's fine in his return. I got no issues with him. But just... it's baffling to me, Nick, more than anything, even taking technical stuff aside, system stuff aside, the lack of intensity. You just got called out. You played a shit game on Saturday night against the Oilers, and you show up here tonight against Chicago in a game that you should be able to use as like a launch pad. Not to say that any opponent in the NHL is just going to be like a battery, like just some pinata that you can tear apart, but it's a team missing their best player. You should be able to step in and kind of impose your will. And again, I look at the big boys. They were just not involved in this at all. They had no interest, no care, like just nothing to them from an intensity perspective.
You're not kidding. I mean, it should have been points night. I think any way you slice it, like, I refuse to compare this rendition of the Chicago Blackhawks before your time to the 1995 New Jersey Devils and so on and so forth. Like, they're not some defensive juggernaut. And for me, I don't know if you would agree, it reminded me a lot of the Maple Leafs in the bubble. Montreal, Columbus, and I know firsthand because I was a Leafs radio host for those 2 years. It was very perimeter, not many chances, no urgency, no intensity. I thought they had some pretty decent puck pressure there in the first period. Like, it's kind of funny. First couple of shifts, you're like, shit, the Leafs are buzzing. That top line with Nylander, Matthews, and Knies, like, I put out a tweet that Willie was buzzing, and after that, it all went downhill. But it was eerily similar to those games in the bubble against Columbus and Montreal where they just had nothing. And then it got to a point of the game where the opposing netminder, whether it was Korpisalo or it was Carey Price or whoever, just took over the game, and he was in their heads and they weren't winning that game. So I got to credit them for finding a way to get the job done. Again, a big goal from Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Big timely goal from Auston Matthews. Again, I think he'd be the first to admit it wasn't his best effort, but he gets a goal and assist, but scores on the power play. That's massive. And then the follow-up's big for me too, where you think maybe that game's going to OT, and then out of nowhere, what a great bounce. And it's Dakota Joshua, who now, by the way, has as many goals on the year as Mitch Marner, producer Vic, with the tweet of the year after the game.
Yeah, that's a funny concept. The fact that he's just finds a way to get 6 goals here when everyone's looking at Mitch Marner saying, oh, Mitch Marner's the reason Auston Matthews can't do this, so he's going to do so well in Vegas, and Dakota Joshua has as many goals as him. But, I mean, Dakota Joshua also, I will give him some credit. I don't think he was bad tonight. Yep. He also had the opportunity pretty early in the game as well off the post, so I thought he was good. But, yeah, I don't know, Nick. I know you're saying, it's like, you give them credit for battling back, and I will as well. And again, that's kind of where it's like hard to balance this one, breaking it down, coming on the post game and doing it in like immediately after, where it's like, on one hand, we just watched this awesome comeback and we're all happy and pumped up because we just saw them scratch and claw their way back into this game. And on the other hand, it's like, you played so poorly for 50 minutes, it almost makes me more concerned where it's like, I don't want to be fooled by that last 10 minutes.
I agree. I mean, if anything, this reinforced it's going to be a grind of a season, man. And I have no clue if this team is going to go on to bigger and better things. And by that, making the Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't think they're in any position right now to try and acquire assets. Like I'm still in a holding pattern when it comes to this team. I really haven't seen anything through 32 games, 31 games now, whatever it is, that suggests that they're ready to go on a tear, a run. And we talk about it frequently here on our platform, how every night teams pick up points around them. So bottom line, I think if you want to take it, 1 out of 82 games, they found a way to get the job done. Am I concerned? Without question moving forward. They got a pretty crucial road trip coming up. They're playing Washington. The Capitals are an excellent team. Then they got Nashville, who's won 7 of the last 10 games. Then they got Dallas. It doesn't get any easier. Then they have Pittsburgh, who has nothing to lose for next week. And they're going to step up to the plate. So it just doesn't get any easier. But I want to give them a bit of credit. But I understand where you're coming from, because just like you, like many of you watching as well, I was utterly disgusted with that performance for about 55 minutes. And it's just unfortunate the way things work out, where it's like, the captain's going to get the heyday, and I get it, scores the big time goal, but it was a less than inspiring effort across the board. Like when you can only pick a couple guys that actually did some damage and played a consistent and a complete game, I think you're in pretty decent trouble here. So, only time will tell on this front, Zach.
Yeah, and I mean, that's part of this here too for me, is like, there's nothing that was inspiring from the big boys until the very end there, where they just turn it on. And yeah. I guess that's a positive sign that they can turn it on. And in a strange turn of events, I mean, like that Auston Matthews goal almost seems like vintage Auston Matthews, but it's just like looking ahead to this next stretch, as you kind of just outlined, where it's like it's not easy sledding going through these games into the holiday break, coming out of them, and you look at the condensed schedule, you look at all these kinds of things. It's like I can't find a way here tonight, personally, aside from the fact that you got the 2 points, to spin this very positively, because you got a tough stretch coming up, and there wasn't really anything from this game tonight that gives me the warm and fuzzies about them going forward. Like, just the response.
Fair.
Like, yeah. I don't know. Like, do you see this differently? Because, I mean, there's going to be people who are going to push back, and I know that this is going to happen in the chat, but, like, the response was there in terms of in-game in the third period. Like, you can't say there was no response, because they came back and they won this one. But, like, the fact that it took so long to start doing what they did, the fact that they didn't step up right away coming out of the gates, like, that stuff to me is all more concerning and outweighs the positives of the fact that there was a pushback and there was a bounce back late in the third. Like, that's my problem with this one, where it's just like, I can't take that much positives away from this one, other than the fact that they got 2 points. Like, that's kind of the only thing.
I was laughing that Taking Care of Business was playing after the game, the post game, where they're saluting the crowd, and they're saluting the crowd after they were booed like 10 minutes before. And all I could think about watching that game too, Zach, is like the legendary Joe Bowen. Poor guy can't catch a break, but they found a way to score some goals, so his kid can actually call some goals here, as they honored his legendary career over 3,800 games called in the league, 44 years. But yeah, I mean, you're right to feel that way. There's nothing I grabbed from that game to suggest, again, the Maple Leafs are set to go on a heater here. It's, my mentality is now moving forward. Next up is the Washington Capitals on the road. I'm still enraged the way they blew up that game a couple weeks ago, where they should have won to begin with. Maybe they solidify things now, but great to see Joseph Woll back on the ice. I think it's important to stress that. Not overly tested, but I thought he made some stops. He was steady. He was strong, got the victory in this game. But I think ultimately you're right. I just don't want to come on here and be Mr. Negative, because they did win the game, but you have every reason to feel that way because of the lack of response. Like, technically it is a response, because they found a way to come back in the third period. But the first 40 minutes, I don't know how you come out that way and think you're winning a hockey game. Like, they got a bit lucky. I mean, if Bedard's there, if Levshinov's playing, I think it's a different story, where I feel like Chicago needed one more goal, and it was probably curtains for the Maple Leafs in that game. They probably would have called it quits.
if that thing went 3-0 in the first period, like it probably should have.
Over.
I mean, aside from, I know that goal got called back, rightfully so, but it felt like the Hawks could have gone 3-4, 5-0 early on.
6, yeah.
6, if you want to even get to that point. If it got to that, I think that would have been it, and it would have been curtains for the Leafs, as you said. Let's do one more thing here.
Yeah.
They scored late, so I guess a positive for them, but let's just do the power play quickly because we have to. Another shorthanded goal. Later on that same power play, odd man rush again from the Blackhawks. Later in the game, like even on the power play they scored, I'm like, oh good, a power play. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, I would almost rather decline it. 3 power plays for them here tonight. They get the 1 goal, and it's a very, very important one. So I guess part of you, again, it's like where you and I are looking at this being like, well, they got 2 points, you're positive, but what the fuck was this first part? The first couple of power plays, not great. Shorthanded goal, like, what the fuck do you do with this? Like, I am at the point right now where obviously I put more blame on the guys on the ice than the guy who's telling them to go on the ice. But, like, do you not reach a point where you just have to change something for the sake of changing it? Because whatever Marc Savard's doing is not working. Whatever combinations of guys they put out are not working. Whatever systems they're running are not working. And it's not just in the offensive zone. It's gaining zone entry. It's breaking out. And then on the flip side, which is the worst part of the whole thing somehow here, because this shouldn't even be happening, but it's defensively on your own power play. You're getting your teeth kicked in. You're giving up chances left, right, and center. What in the fuck do you do about this power play, and how do you start pushing the first domino to fix this?
Weirdly enough, I come back to a buzzword we've used for maybe the last decade in this market, and that's accountability. I think if tonight proved anything, it's how much power does Craig Berube have? Like the Nylander giveaway that led to the shorthanded goal, I think the biggest way to make a statement if you're a coach is to park that guy's ass on the bench and say, you're not playing on the power play. Mm-hmm. Like, you want to get something cooking in the minds of these guys, hey, take this shift off. Like, it's strange to me that we're at like the 30-game threshold of this season and somebody hasn't stepped up, especially the head coach, and been like, you know what, we're going to have Derek Lalonde run this power play for 10 games and see how it goes. I'm going to run the power play for 10 games and see how it goes. It's Marc Savard. Last I checked, it is Marc Savard still running this fucking dreadful power play night in and night out. And again, what can the response be? Well, we went 1 for 3. We scored at a pivotal time. Auston Matthews went roof daddy. We won the game. I'm not buying that shit. Like, we're at a point here, and I think there's got to be hopefully there's got to be a level of urgency where I think this team's in a really precarious position. I don't know if you agree with me. If a couple more losses don't go their way in the next 2 weeks and you get to Jan 1 and they're 6 or 8 points out of a playoff spot, I think they're done. I'm not being insane with that take. I just think it's difficult to hop this many teams in the standings, play catch-up, play 700 hockey down the stretch for the last 40-some-odd games of the season. And for me, there is zero accountability when it comes to this team in general, never mind the power play. And it just shows me they're out of answers. They can't, enforce that type of rule where it's like you give away the puck, you're sitting. Like it even happened in the third period with Auston Matthews. That I don't, like, he's a different story. We've talked about him a lot this year, Zach. I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, this guy went from 69 rips and now, like, the puck's allergic to his stick. Like star players in this league, the puck just seems to stick on their stick the entire game, and they force themselves, they will their way. You just haven't seen that with Matthews. Like, he's really, really fighting it. Even, I think it was in the third period, he galloped.
8 minutes left, down 2-1.
Yeah. Like, you illustrated in the group chat, he's got some high step to his game. Like, OEL scores. You're feeling good about life, and you think you're going to see the patented curl and drag, and it hops off the stick. It's uncharacteristic stuff. And again, we talked about this on Morning Take today, me and Rosie, how we're led to believe this is just performance-based. I don't know if you know anything differently, but nothing has come out this season in, say, the last 15 games where it's like this guy is really, really hurt, and that's why it's affecting, his performance. So I'm led to believe this is just performance-based. Are you?
I find it hard to believe that you could fall off this hard.
I agree.
Performance-wise, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
you can throw the Marner gone and Berube's here and the system doesn't fit him and all that shit in there. Sure. But, like, does that account for 20 goals? Let's not even put it in the 69-goal season because I think that that's the career high. Like 69 goals is unbelievable. But he was a guy who was putting up 25 to 60. Like that's or 55, to 60. Like, does this drop off in performance? Is this a 15 to 20 goal drop off every year? I just find it incredibly hard to believe that you could fall off this hard, this fast at 28 years old. Going from 32 to 33 and having an unreal year and potting 40 and then the next year scoring 25, sure. Like that couldn't happen. You're just a year older, the body deteriorates more. I can't imagine that this is just performance. I would think that there has to be something injury based in this. I don't like, again, man, the shot, just not as fast, not as hard. The release isn't as dangerous. The puck handling isn't as good. He's not as hard to knock off the puck anymore when he has it. He battles still, and I'll give him all the credit. Like, he's doing other things in his game, and I've got no issue with that. He just has no takeover ability right now. He has no ability to say, I'm taking this puck, fuck you, get out of my way, we're going to score. And, I mean, that's where I start to look at him and be like, he's dealing with something. So I'll throw something back at you here then. So I believe that there's got to be something injury related going on with him. I think part of it starts last year where I don't know if it happened in camp or leading into camp or whatever, but he comes to the realization, this is tinfoil hat moment for me here. I believe he comes into camp last year or into the season and realizes there's some type of injury that's going on, and it's going to plague him. I think he goes to Germany. I think he finds out the solution to said injury is something significant. Might miss a long stretch of hockey, maybe months or half a season worth. And then he starts looking at the calendar and he goes, that would mean I would have to miss the Four Nations. Can I play through it? And the doctor says, yep, you can play through it. It just won't be as good. And he says, okay, I'll play through it. Serious drop-off. The team does well enough around him, so it doesn't really matter. Plays in the Four Nations, and then he goes, well, I can't do it now because we're going to make the playoffs. I'd miss the playoffs. So he continues on, and he plays the playoffs. And then he gets to the summer, and they're going to Olympic camp, and they're doing all the meetings, and he goes, if I get this done, because it seems pretty significant. Let's just, speculation here, strictly, but he gets to the summer, and he says, if I get this, I might be just coming back in time for the Olympics or maybe missing it. I'm going to play in the Olympics. I'll deal with it again. And that's where I'm starting to get concerned that that's the path that we're heading down. So to throw it your way, do you buy into said theory that I just threw out there? And if you do, because Vic and I had an argument about this yesterday when we were basically trying to out tinfoil hat each other, do you have any respect for that? Because I said I don't. He's putting playing for the U.S. above playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs and winning a Stanley Cup in a window of which things are closing quickly, and it might be one of the last chances for this group to do it, and he put USA above the Toronto Maple Leafs, if that is the case. Vic said, you know what? Everybody would do that, so it's fine to throw Vic under the bus.
You should. I can't play the speculation game. All I can throw to this conversation is that what I was told last week or a couple weeks back, that there, like, I don't know if there's any clarity. I didn't really ask about the previous injury, but I was told this is a different injury that he's dealing with. It's not the same one that cost him pretty much all last season. I just can't play the speculation game. I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. Like, I did see that on Twitter. People were speculating this guy's going to play in the Olympics, then shut it down. I just can't play that speculation game. What I will add, it
play
really
the game,
is
pussy.
sad. I know. It really is sad from my vantage point. It's disappointing. Like, this is the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I want to love this guy. You think I want to come on this show and my show every day and just shit on the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs? I don't. It's really a sad story considering the high point in this guy's career. And again, there'll be those fucking trolls that talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs. We witnessed something a couple years back, and I understand it's a personal milestone that hasn't been done in like 30 plus years. Like, we were witnessing greatness. We were talking about Auston Matthews in the same vein as Alex Ovechkin, Wayne Gretzky in terms of the all-time goal scorers. And now I watch this guy. I have no clue what the hell is going on because nobody around him will talk. We talked about it today on Morning Take as well. They're protecting the hell out of this guy. I'm still befuddled as to how he didn't address the media as the captain of the Leafs after that loss to Edmonton. So we got no clue what's going on.
Insane. But that was not even addressed enough. Insane.
No, it wasn't. And he just blends into the game way too often. Like, I guess he's playing like a second line center, but like all I can think about when he comes due to his next contract, is he giving them a haircut? Probably not. Is he saying, you know what, guys, I'm not the same guy I was 5 years ago. I'll take $8 million a year and I'll be a Maple Leaf for life. Like, it's just a really weird situation. It doesn't help that we have no clue what the hell is going on. And honestly, I think it hurts. It's tarnishing his reputation by the day. Because I think anybody, and you don't have to have a PhD to figure out something's going on with this guy. It is so clear. Like, to your point earlier on, you don't go from that guy to this guy. Like, he's 28. People talk like he's 38 years old. This guy's got 12 years left or whatever in the NHL. Like, you're supposed to be in the prime of your career. But I think it's tarnishing his reputation, not knowing what the hell is going on.
I'm 100% with you. I had this conversation, actually, by the way, during the game tonight. My roommate and I were talking about it, and we talked about, because they were showing some Tavares quote about him saying whatever he knew, whatever was happening when he was asked, I guess, this morning, and he's like, "Yeah, we got to play harder," or whatever. He said what we all knew, and I was laughing about it, being like, John Tavares took so much shit from people in this market, and probably at times myself included, for like the quotes that he gave, because they were always like the most like vanilla shit where we were just like, dude, like, get fired up or something. But the point I'm making is, how many times did Marner and Matthews, and I think it was one of them way more than the other one, but they would just come out into the media after and not really like say what happened in the loss, in playoff losses. Like, we would get pumped by the Bruins in a Game 7, or get pumped by the Lightning or the Panthers or whatever, and like the first thing these guys would say and the first quotes we would read would be like, the bounces didn't go our way, but we did the right things and we're close and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if people in this market are smart enough, if you come out and you say, we stunk like shit tonight, we have to be better, that wasn't good enough, people are going to be like, I wish you played better, but thank you. Like, they see it, they know it, they recognize it. Going to the Nathan McKinnon example, like, I don't know if you remember the year before he won the Stanley Cup, does a post-game press conference, and they asked him about it, and he's like, I haven't won shit. And he's furious, being like, I don't care what I do, I don't care what the points are, I don't fucking win a Stanley Cup. I'm pissed. And it's like, that's a guy who's like, I recognize we as a team are not good enough, I'm not good enough what I'm doing, this whole thing needs to be better, and it endears himself to the fan base. And this is a long-winded way of saying that I think it ties back here to the Maple Leafs, where like a little bit of transparency goes a long way. Because right now the captain is getting torched online. Like, washed, fell off, doesn't try, doesn't care. And like, maybe some of those things are true. Maybe. But the thing is, if the Maple Leafs came out and said, Auston Matthews is dealing with something and he's battling so that he can play for this team, there's going to be a much larger portion of this fan base who's like, fuck yeah, good for you, you're a warrior, you're battling to play for the boys. And it's going to be a larger amount of people than it is who are like, this guy's an asshole. Because all you see right now, and you see it in the post-game show when we come here and do After Dark, you see it on Morning Take, you see it on socials, it's like, bum, washed, 28, the guy's done, and it's like, well, is he injured? Is he actually just fallen off? And I think that's kind of where some of this goes, and it's the same thing for injuries outside of Auston Matthews too, so it's a little bit frustrating with the way they handle things. And again, I'm not asking for them to come out and be like, oh, Auston Matthews is dealing with like a vertebrae issue and it hurts here, here, and here, and when he does these things or whatever. You don't got to do that. But you can tell us, yeah, he's fucking dealing with something, and people are going to be like, okay. Okay. But like, you know what? We can respect that.
It's clear they have a PR strategy first and foremost. And I always thought it was an MLSC thing, but I don't know. Did you follow the NBA at all?
A little bit, yeah.
So RJ Barrett, like the Raptors put out a release yesterday talking about RJ Barrett and his injury update, saying he diagnosed with a right knee sprain, continues to progress after receiving some treatment, injection, some plasma injection. Like they went in depth on this guy's injury. And then you move to the Maple Leafs where it's like, maybe we found out a bit today on Anthony Stolarz. It's not a conky, but he's got to get a second opinion with another like we know absolutely nothing. And
nothing.
I think to your point, it's tarnishing the reputation of not just Matthews, but other guys. Like I genuinely feel bad for these guys. Like I feel bad for Stoli that this guy can't get healthy. You don't think it's the last, like he wants to get back in that lineup and perform for this team. Like it's kind of sickening to me how much hatred or, venom, whatever way you want to phrase it, that a guy like Stolarz is getting right now in the fan base, considering what he did for this team last year. It's sickening to me that, we have to feel a certain way about the captain because we're limited when it comes to a conversation and, information on what's going on with this guy. Again, like this is the last thing I want to do is like hate on and shit on the top player, the star player in this Maple Leafs team. Like I sort of sometimes have to pinch myself, think about the good times personally, watching him play, whether it's, big rips or, the odd big goal in the Stanley Cup playoffs, few and far between. Yeah. But there was such a high point in his career to where he's at right now. It's night and day. But again, getting back full circle, the Leafs take care of business. 1-1 for Matthews. They score on the power play. He scores a big power play goal. But you're laughing, and I get it because it's, me and Rosie talked about it. It's not like he's going to come out next game and somehow he's going to net a hat trick. It just, we're at a point where I think I've seen enough at least to suggest this is the new norm for Auston Matthews, and we're going to have to live with it and deal with it.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, I don't know. I laugh because I laugh because it's like if we were 3.5, 4 minutes away from like an entirely different show. Like this.
I'm not kidding. I was about to come on here, Zach, and be like, they've got a clean house. Like I was pretty passionate and feeling very, very irritated and frustrated because like for the most part, it's been the same story with this team this year. I don't know if the buy-in is there. Their give a fuck meter doesn't seem to be there. And it's like, if I'm going to watch this team for 50 more games, just have them open this shit up. Like, just have them play that freewheeling style that we saw from Keefe. And they're probably going to miss the playoffs anyways, but at least they'll be entertained. Like, that's the harder part for me is I'm watching the games now. And it's like, it's a struggle. Like, I'm a baseball fan. It reminds me of the Blue Jays prior to this past season where they were unwatchable. It's either a strikeout or a home run. And watching this Leafs team, while I agree this is the way they have to win, and this is the way you win in the Stanley Cup playoffs, if you play this brand that they're supposed to be playing in the playoffs, you're going to win a lot of hockey games. I sort of took that and said, you know what? I will forego the entertainment value to get wins in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But, man, I'm at a point where it's like I don't think they're going to make the playoffs anymore. Like I have maintained that confidence, but the more and more I watch and the longer and longer things go, nothing has changed and swayed my mind to suggest this team is going to boom like snap. Like Tanev's going to come back and all of a sudden they're going to go on a roll where they win 7 of 8 games and firmly be in a playoff spot. Like I think it's going to be a grind all season long. And that's what's tearing me apart. It's like, well, I'm watching the games. It's boring and they're not winning and I'm losing my mind on a nightly basis.
Yeah, okay, so look, I was going to get you out of here because I don't want you to have to be here all night with me, but you just brought something up that I kind of want to dig into with you a little bit, and there's a super chat here that comes in from J-Rock. Appreciate the super chat, J-Rock, and I'll get to the rest of the ones that did come in as well, but does one good period save the clean house convo? So I'm not even going to really ask you a question, but I'm just going to kind of throw some of my thoughts out there, and I want to shoot back and forth with you on this. Like, the problem for me is I feel like each time we've gotten right to the edge, we like start to lean over to jump off, to fire the coach or to make some big changes, clean house, as you just said. And then like a gust of wind like pushes us back. And like we didn't come off the edge. We're still standing on the edge, but we were just deciding like, is it time to jump or not? And I feel like those gusts of winds are like the comeback win against the Penguins, the overtime win against Columbus, or just the fact that they went on a road trip in general. This third period here tonight, like each of these little moments happens. I'm kind of sitting here in a weird spot where, like, for the betterment of the team, I don't know what the hell they should be doing right now, because there's part of me that thinks it's best if you pull the Band-Aid off, fire the coach. And again, me saying that is not saying this is a Craig Berube problem. Like, this is not solely on Craig Berube. Let me be abundantly clear by that. It's just like, to change things up, like change the power play, change the lines, change the voice in the room, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Just something to be changed. Or then going on and looking at like changing players in the room, however you want to do it. But the point being, hey, something like this, you lose this game, it's embarrassing, you get booed out. Next thing you know, Tree Living's like, fuck it, we got to make a change here. And he goes out and does something. Then like the other part of me is like, if you don't get these points, if you don't win these games, as you just mentioned, you fall right out of a playoff spot. Because at the beginning, you were fortunate enough for everybody to kind of just be in this weird no man's land where, like, you go on a 3-game win streak and somebody else loses 1 and you've passed them, even though you played like junk. It's going to spread out over time. Connor McDavid's caught up to Nathan MacKinnon, even though he had a slow start. MacKinnon was lighting the world on fire. Everything naturally just kind of starts to sort itself out. So you're going to have teams who are going to not give up those later, third period goals to go to OT and handing out points to everybody because the games get tighter and everybody figures their shit out more, which means there's less room for error. So you got to win these games and get these points. I don't know, like, I guess kind of where do you think the best path is for this team? Because by the sounds of it, you also don't feel like this is a team right now who's going to be climbing up the leaderboard and getting themselves into a playoff spot anytime soon. And yet at the same time, it's like they're good enough to get points, good enough to get wins, but then they're bad enough that you're in a fire the coach and trade everybody conversation. Like, what the hell do we do here? And is it better if they just start losing games?
Well, I want to be frank and say I'm not endorsing a coaching change or a GM change. I think this is on the players. I even think
same.
Living's going to be taking more heat. I think Tree's taking more heat than he should be taking. I think ultimately it's somebody's fault. Somebody's got to take the blame. The head coach is usually the scapegoat. So I want to be frank about that. Like, I think Craig Berube is a really good coach. I don't think his message is getting across to this team anymore. Would I be shocked if announcement comes out on Wednesday? I hope it doesn't, because it's Craig Berube's 60th birthday. Like, talk about a day to hand a guy a pink slip. And would I be shocked if an announcement came out? Probably not. I mean, it's happened a billion times where teams will actually win a game. Look at Stuart Skinner. I think he won 3 in a row, and then they're like, yeah, you're gone. You're going to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Have fun with that. And then they lit him up after. It's just so fascinating to me, because I watch this team and like they show moments where you're like, okay, like I could see something here, but the level of consistency, accountability, I'd love to go back and grab all the clips from our conversations when they hired Craig Berube. I just don't see the vision right now. Like, I don't see everything coming together. Like, I'm at a point where it's like, I just think maybe it's the wrong group of players to execute this brand. But man, I won't lie. The thing that sucks me in, last spring, we saw it come to fruition. They took the Panthers to 7 games. Like, Ottawa, I mean, they had their way with the Senators in the first round. So, like, that's what pisses me off, is we've seen, this game plan and this strategy work with the way they're trying to play. But unfortunately, the buy-in just hasn't been there. Like, I again still feel like this is firmly on the players. I don't know if it's a Berube thing. I think if you had to play the pie game where you're placing blame and the percentage, there's more certainly on Brad Treliving than Craig Berube, but it gets to a point where enough's enough. And we've seen so many different points and moments where we're all expecting a response and it doesn't come. And I think that's firmly on the coach. I just wonder if the guys are getting the message anymore, man. It just, like, it's just a fact of a matter in this day and age of pro sports. Everybody's got an expiry date. We see it with some of the legends in the game, whether it's John Tortorella or everybody else in between. And I think somebody like Craig Berube, I don't know how long their span, their expiry date will last because of the way they coach. And, they talk about it a lot in the broadcast too. He's not a very demonstrative coach. Like, I know the camera likes to pick him up when he's shitting on the players, but you're at a point where what else do you do? Like, every game, it feels like he was losing it tonight, man. You start to feel bad for the guy. He's turning 60. Like, he's going to have a heart attack, man.
I know. His head goes so red, too. So red.
He cares, dude. Like, and that's the thing that gets me. Like, you don't think Tree is up at night till 4 a.m. fucking being like, what the hell's going on? Like, these guys care. These guys, like I know for a fact, Tree loves running the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? He's got the passion. He wants his team to be successful. Say what you want about Brendan Shanahan. I've had plenty of exchanges with him. He's like, Nick, it still eats me alive. I wanted to win with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, I think we can't discredit these individuals, the hours they're putting in on a daily basis. I know Mark Savard's getting a lot of heat. The power play's not. Like, they're trying their hardest. They just can't figure it out. And I think we're at a point here where it could be time for some new voices. Voices plural. It's like hitting your head against the wall. And I think you're so right in bringing up that, not to be long-winded, the fact that, like, we're just about to jump and then they suck us back in. Like, I remember in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year, 3-2 Panthers were like, they're done. They're cooked. I remember you and Vic were on Suey Watch at the old bar we used to do the game at, and then sucked you back in. Monster effort in Sunrise. Then they get to game 7. They shit themselves again. So it's like, maybe it's just the roller coaster of documenting and following the Toronto Maple Leafs on a daily basis. But man, oh man, is it infuriating, Zach.
Yeah, and like, look, there's problems. There's mistakes that were made by Brad Treliving. We can admit that. Like, Matthias Michelli, mistake, sure. Brandon Carlo trade.
Where is that guy? Like, I don't understand. It's not to interrupt, but I think there's a clear divide in what the head coach and the GM are feeling, where, dude,
which is a weird concept, by the way, because in the summer it seemed like these guys were like lockstep. Like, this was Berube and Treliving coming together to do this. So it seems weird that we're at this point.
Yeah, but it's like Michelli. Like, I think they're just out on this guy. Like, if you healthy scratch a guy for, like, what is it, 8 out of 9 or 9 out of 10, you are finito. Like, and I mean, to that point, we see how they win the game tonight, but man, I'm starting to finger point again. Where's McMahon? Where's Robertson? Yeah. Like, up and down the list of guys are just, they're not producing. Like, they're not scoring goals. And when you can count on one hand who's scoring, like, you're in trouble, and you're really leaning on your goaltending. Again, I think it's a huge positive. Joseph Woll is back, and the goaltending's actually been pretty good the last month or so.
Mm-hmm. And it's a weird night for me to say this because Matthews has a goal and an assist, Nylander has 2 assists, but like, you look at the end of the day, it's those guys that you're looking at here, especially over the last stretch, and especially to start the season, not Nylander specifically, but Matthews. When, and again, like, to go back to the Treliving thing, just to kind of conclude on that, but like, I saw in the chat there somebody said, we can never forgive Treliving for not trading Marner in the 2-week window. Like, dude, I'm looking at these things and it's like, this is mostly Brad Treliving's team. If you look at the acquisitions, whether it's from trades or signings, it's mostly Brad Treliving guys. So from that standpoint, you can look at it there and say, okay, sure. Brad Treliving inherited the team, I think, what was it? Was it 2 weeks, Nick? I think it was less before Mitch Marner's no trade kicked in.
Something like that.
You're not going to make a trade there, because if he gets on the phone and he starts calling people, every single person in the world knows he's trading from a position of weakness because he's trying to move Mitch Marner before the contract kicks in. And everybody will say, I don't know, maybe call me in like 2 weeks. And then he's fucked. Because then he's going to start getting desperate with those trades if that's the play. So it can't work that way. It was a tough spot to be put in for that trade in particular. We know he tried to move him after, one of which would have brought back a significant piece to which Mitch Marner said no to, which I do kind of find kind of funny, considering he was fearing for his safety and wellness here in the city.
So scared.
You know, he couldn't walk at night without security guards, and yet he wouldn't leave. That seems a little bit odd. But anyways, the point being, some of the stuff he had his hands tied on. And, you look at that move in particular, he can't really move Mitch Marner. Mitch forces them to wait till the very last minute, and then they can only get Nick Waugh back, who I think is a good player, but, you look at Quinn Hughes and what they just traded for him in Vancouver, that's a haul, and that's not what you got here in Toronto. And then you also look at Auston Matthews, when Brad Treliving took over this team, I don't think that the first thing he thought was, well, I got to prepare for this guy to go from 69 goals to 35. That's a pretty significant piece that you've just lost, where he went from elite superstar to good player. There's some shit here that just went sideways that was out of his control.
No, you're right. And I do think to a degree Tree gets an unfair rap because of maybe the most lopsided trade in NHL history. But if you do recall when he trades Tkachuk and how all that went down with Tkachuk and Gaudreau, I remember my infamous tweet. I'm like, shit, Calgary got a really, really good return. I think, honestly, this is part of the job. It's part of the risk. There's gamble involved. I'm telling you right now, if Quinn Hughes doesn't re-sign with Minnesota, Bill Guerin in 5 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, holy shit, Zeev Buium's a player. Marco Rossi's a player. Ogren scored his first goal with Vancouver tonight. They got a first rounder. It's part of the game of being a general manager, and some play better than others. But I think there's got to be that element of risk. And do I think Treliving's accountable for this disaster? I do. I mean, I can love the guy and think he's a great guy, but at the end of the day, it's a results-oriented business, Zach, and they're not producing. They're not playing the team we thought they were going to be, and I think there's got to be accountability at the top. And especially if this team doesn't make the Stanley Cup playoffs, somebody's going to lose their job. I don't know whether it's the coach, the GM, power play coach, but it's just really discouraging when you look at this team and watch this team. Cause I don't know if you agree, on talent level alone, they should be much better than what they're playing right now. I don't care, put system aside, personnel aside. Yeah, they got Michelli and this and that. And, Rielly, people love to shit on Morgan Rielly too. Talent level, just focusing on that, they should be a way better team. They should be a top 10 team in this league. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think Tree took this job and was like, okay, I got to prep for Auston Matthews turn into a 65-point player or a 60-point player. No, he's prepping for Matthews to be a superstar, to drag this team into the fight. And sadly, we're not seeing that. But again, I can talk about this till we're going blue in the face. People are going to have their opinions. I think ultimately, as mentioned, it's a results-oriented business. If they don't figure this thing out and they miss the playoffs, they're going to be in big-time trouble. In hindsight's 2022. Yeah, right now, the Laughton trade doesn't look great. Minton's having a great year. The Carlo trade doesn't look good. But just be mindful. Things can change really, really quickly. When they signed Stolars, people loved it. When Domi re-signed after coming over or whatever, they loved it. I think you just have to wait for things to play out, but certainly it looks pretty damn grim right now when it comes to the GM, and you hate to see that. And ultimately, I think it's on the players, but you can't fire an entire team, sadly.
No, you can't. You can't. It feels like a dark place to be here right now, even despite a win. But just what we saw from the play here tonight. You know what, Nick?
They won, baby.
We got over 50 likes here, so let's do it. Let's do the smelling salts.
Oh, 2 guys getting high, not just one. Love this.
There you go. All right, Nick.
Teary.
Thank you. I appreciate it. TJ Oshie, Leafs Morning Take, 11 a.m. Eastern time here, right on this channel. Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill breaking everything down. Those ones got you good. But make sure to come back here and check out Nick's interview with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That's live here on the channel right now. But the Golden Muzzy, I appreciate you jumping on here and helping me break this one down. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of the hockey, and we'll catch you tomorrow on Leafs Morning Take.
Great words, man. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great rest of your show, and we'll talk later. Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right. There you go. Nick Alberga jumping on the post-game show. Help us break this one down. More stuff to get to here tonight, so let's get to a lot of these super chats, and then I'm going to go callers. I saw a bunch of people joining that want to call in tonight and give their thoughts on this one, but before we can get there, I do want to bang off some of these super chats because a lot of you guys giving your thoughts on this game here tonight. So let's start right at the top with Maxentius Decimus with the super chat. Maxentius, thank you for sending that one. Max says, we barely beat a rebuilding team without Bedard. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where it's frustrating. You're happy to win the game, but in general, just the play here tonight through 40 minutes, and I mean, even into the third period, probably until about 10 minutes left, it was pathetic. Like, there was nothing positive from this game other than maybe like Joseph Woll, Ekman Larsson, and Scott Laughton, like individual players, but not shifts, not plays, not style. Like, they came out flat, they came out uninterested. You know, you were expecting a team that was going to come out here tonight and they were going to show up and fucking shove it down the throats of the Chicago Blackhawks. That's the farthest thing from what happened. Like, there was a serious lack of effort, intensity, and engagement in this game until, you know, it was like, we're at the final minutes here. It comes down to the wire. Craig Berube could be fired tomorrow, and all of a sudden, the team decides to step up. That's where it gets real frustrating for me. Max also says, remember, we aren't allowed to criticize the Leafs or ask questions about their injuries, or else we are toxic fans. Yeah, I know. Can't criticize. We got people in the chat who are furious that we could criticize them in a game where 99% of the game was absolutely fucking atrocious. And then the final couple minutes were nice and you won and you climbed back and it was good. And then it's like, well, you can't criticize them. Can't criticize them. They won. Like, what are we talking about here? But more super chats. Robert Bet, this team is like watching a rom-com. You cry, laugh, and get mad all in one episode. That's pretty fair. There's a lot of analogies for what this team is, but I mean, a rom-com, pretty good one there. I'll give you that. Jim Myler here. My God, watching this game. Huge super chat, by the way. $31 on the super chat. My God, watching this game, stomach turning and getting pissed off, then jumping out of the chair, cheering. Feel like a hormonal woman with the mood swings. Wow. Watch out, ladies, watching this one. At least you got the win for Mr. Bowen. Good job, guys. Support the kids. Jim, thank you for the super chat. Again, proceeds from our super chat do go to Sick Kids Charity, so you guys get those super chats in. They go to an amazing cause, so continue to send them in. Here tonight, already about $100 raised for Sick Kids Charity. Tammy says, Matthews woke up once he found out Louis Vuitton had a sale on purses. Tammy, that's unnecessary. We didn't need to hear that. Matthews is chasing Canadian tears because he already has enough Toronto tears. That comes in from KPG. Matthews chasing Canadian tears. Well, he had an opportunity in Four Nations. Couldn't quite get it done. Next super chat comes in from Robert Bet again. If the top six played with as much passion and determination as the bottom, the record would be better. I know. I look, it's hard to say that passion and that kind of stuff is like for NHL players. It's hard to be like, well, you know, they don't care, whatever. It does feel like there's a lack of care. It does feel like there's a lack of engagement. This one comes in from Proletarian, just sends 10 Swedish dollars. Thank you for the donation, Proletarian. J-Rock, we answered that one. Tammy with a $20 super chat here. Matthew said at the start of the season his injury wouldn't be a problem. So what is it? I just think he's checked out from hockey because he doesn't play with the same excitement anymore. Also, they need to fire the PR team. It is interesting. Nick brought that up about the Raptors and the transparency. It does feel like this is a Maple Leaf specific issue here now. We have surpassed the point where we could even begin to suggest this is MLSE, given how open, the Raptors are. I guess that's really the only other team that I kind of follow, but the Raptors being, the other team in your backyard playing in the same building, a very openly MLSE team, watching them say what they're dealing with, what the treatments are, how long things are going to be. It's like, well, why can the Maple Leafs not do that? And then, you watch these guys get turned on in this market. And I just can't imagine that Auston Matthews could fall off this hard in that short of a span. I have a hard time believing Auston Matthews could fall off a cliff that much just performance-wise. Like, maybe part of it is because I believe in the guy. Maybe part of it is because I saw what he did for a long time. It wasn't like 1 year or 2 years of being really good, being a really good goal scorer. Like, he stepped into the league and basically became this elite player, elite talent, superb goal scorer for 8 seasons into the league. And then it was like year 9, gone. Okay, he's dealing with something significant. He went to Germany, expecting it to come back here. You got the offseason off. You got an opportunity to heal, to recover, to rehab. You're thinking, hey, maybe this guy can come back in year 10 with the C. He can be the guy to step up to the plate, carry this team without the other guy here anymore. And, it's the same thing. And last year was tied up to an injury. This year, a lot of people are trying to put the blame on the coach, on a line mate being gone, but those things could factor into a smaller degree. But I think when you are that elite of a talent, and when you're playing effectively the same way as you were with the same coach last year and having that line mate here, and it's now 2 years in a row, I just can't begin to imagine this is strictly performance. This has to be some type of injury at this point. I know he scores tonight, and it looks like a vintage Auston Matthews goal, but until that goal, he did not look like himself. They said on the broadcast, 11 seconds of puck possession through 2 periods. You don't pay $13 million for 11 seconds of puck possession. And I just refuse to believe he's just fallen off this hard. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm an idiot. But I believe that this guy has it in him. It just feels like something significant is holding him back. So I'm giving him the out on that one. On some way, somehow. There's other things to him that frustrate me. I won't lie. There's other things about the willingness to engage physically in terms of sticking up for teammates and that kind of stuff. That pisses me off. Maybe he's not the best guy to wear the C for the team, but in terms of being that player and being dominant, I just can't imagine he just fell off a cliff this bad. Proletarian also says, Swedish fan, 5 a.m, and I'm furious. There you go. There's other people other than just me and Alberga, 6 1/3, that are pissed off with what happened here tonight. Let me catch up on the chat here a little bit. 6 1/3, is this the whole stream tonight? The negative ninny narrative? Well, 6 1/3, I don't know if you just checked to see if they won or not at the end of the night, but they played pretty fucking shit. Let's just call it what it is. They played awful in this game. So, yeah, there's a lot of negativity. I don't think there's much in this one that you could look at to be like, yeah, I'm really believing in this group. Why? How? What? I'm going to give you guys 5 more minutes on the Prague poll. 42% of people saying Prague should be let back tonight. Served a 1-game suspension. Tonight is game 2. Thursday, the next game would be game 3. Do you guys want Prague back tonight? Do you want him back after 2 games? Or do you want to uphold the 3-game suspension? The voting is in your hands in the chat there. But you could see 45% of voters upholding the suspension at 3 full games, 42% at let him back tonight. With that, let's get to our calls here tonight. So welcome to the show. The man who's been waiting for a long time. He was here first in the queue. Mando, how you doing after this Maple Leafs win here tonight?
Hey, Zach. Thanks for having me.
What's up, Mando? How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Not bad. I mean, this is a frustrating game. Let's call it what it is. I know there's a lot of people, or maybe there's one very vocal person in the chat who continues to say we should let them off the hook in this one. They won. Let's stop being negative Nancy's. Let's stop being upset about this one. I can't really do that. We just watched an atrocious hockey game with no pushback, no effort, no intensity, no response, and your stars not showing up until the end for 55 minutes or 50-something minutes. Like, that was a pathetic performance from the Toronto Maple Leafs in this game here tonight. And for me personally, not much to be happy about other than the fact that there was 2 points. That's it. That's the only thing I can take away from this.
Yep. No, I totally agree. I want to talk about like the leadership issue. So, I think this is a big deal. Like, you talked about McKinnon, you talked about, his attitude, his desire to win. Even McDavid. I mean, he took the team on his back to go to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row with their flaws, right? So their defense is mid. They have a mid defense core, and their goaltending is below mid. Was always below mid, for chronically below mid, and then him and Draisaitl just said, "F this," just follow us. We're taking you. We don't have that in Toronto. We've watched these guys, and then we have to be honest, right? John Tavares, great person, great athlete, appreciate he takes care of his body, this and that. But if you listen to him, there's no leadership qualities that you can compare to with the other stars in the league. And just one example is when they talk about just today, they said we have to get better as a team. That's not good enough. I think they need to say what the right thing is, starting with me. Just add that, starting with me. I have to lead this getting better business, not just say generically, because if that's how they're rubbing off on the rest of the team, when they're talking to the rest of the team, we have to get better. Everyone's going to look at them and say, well, what about you? Why don't you, you know what I'm saying? That's the vibe. The vibe is just not enough. There's not enough leadership in any of them, to be frank. And I don't know what you think about that. About that aspect. If you agree or not.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part here, I agree with you, Mando. Like, we've kind of beaten this thing off. Pause. We've kind of beaten this one into the ground here, where we're talking about over and over again the guys leading from the front and taking over and dominating in a game and like saying, hey, get on my back, we're going to do this. That's where the drop-off here is happening, where it's like, you need your big boys to be your big boys. And I mean, again, it's a weird game to talk about because in the final 6 minutes of the game, they stepped up and they did it. So, like, that's where we have this problem, Mando, where we talk about this in the post game, and we're gonna break this whole thing down. And you're expressing this opinion, I'm sharing the same opinion, but they should have done that from the beginning. They got called out by their coach. This is a game where you step up and you show this right from day one, right from the second you came on the ice here tonight, and. Like they just don't like. I know that they did it late, so like you're happy that that's in them, and they've shown that they can do these late game comebacks. But when you think about what happens when they get to the playoffs, they don't have that. That's That to me is where it's frustrating. Like, you can't rely on just like turning it on in the last 5 minutes and coming back from down 2 goals against the team, because you're not going to be playing against the Chicago Blackhawks in the playoffs. You're going to be playing against the best teams in the NHL, and you're putting yourself in a bad spot. You got to show up right from the jump and be ready to go. And it does feel like that leadership is lacking for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So like, there's no coming back from a 2-0 deficit late in the third if you're in the playoffs. It just doesn't happen, right? So because they're playing this team, they were able to do that, let's say. But I want to step back. So we have a big picture, right? So this is one game, like you said. Okay, yeah, they came back, big boys came, but this is just one game. But we as Leaf fans have been like, I started following. Like I was a Leafs fan all my life, but I kind of tuned out in the middle 2000s where things were shit. Like I wasn't really a hockey fan. And then once Matthews, Marner, Nylander came, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to pay attention to this team. And then starting from that, we have this 10-year experience, right? We see the big picture here. And if we take the DeLorean back, you guys know what the DeLorean is, right? Future you go, but anyways, I'm a little bit older, so I'm not sure if you guys know about the Back to the Future series. But anyways, the DeLorean is the car that takes you back into time. Look at all the game sevens that were played and the decisive game sevens. Who showed up? And the leadership group very seldomly, with some exceptions, with 2023, I believe, is when they beat Tampa, right? You had that one game, I'm not sure if it was game 3 or 4, where the Leafs were down, and Auston Matthews took the team on his back and literally dragged that team back to win that game. Correct me but it was one of those pivotal games in the first round, and then of course John Tavares got the overtime winner. That's maybe an exception. That's a glimpse of the leadership and what we expect from someone like Auston Matthews. But other than that, nobody really showed up, right? For all of these years in those pivotal games. And that's what unfortunately gives me some doesn't give me a lot of hope, unfortunately. But you never know. In the future, maybe things will change. But we have a history with this team, right? And in the way they play, and in the way they rallied, or they're able to come back, or able to push forward, right? We have a history with it. So, but in general, this particular game, if I can make a couple of comments, yeah, Auston Matthews, I don't know what the hell was going on. Like, it looked like there was a 2-on-1. He had the puck, then he didn't. It's like he gave it away, and then he was falling all over the place. Like, I didn't understand what I was seeing, and the whole team was like, it seemed like it was just hard. Like, playing hockey for the Leafs was hard. They couldn't get cleanly out of their zone. Couldn't make clean passes. Their passes were always interrupted. Nothing. It was watching. I was watching. I'm like, this is tough to watch. There wasn't any. Oh, nice play. Oh, look at that. I didn't have that. It was just tough to watch all game until the last 10 minutes. But that's where I stand right now with this particular game.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It was a tough watch here tonight. It was an extremely frustrating watch. I talked about it with Nick, but there was that period of time where Mike Johnson basically just would predict exactly what was going to happen because it was that obvious. He would just see the Blackhawks turn the puck over or dump the puck into the Leaf zone. You'd watch the Leafs go back there to start to break the puck out, and then he would say, here goes the Blackhawks, 5 guys in the neutral zone, turn it over, and back the other way, and it would happen to a T every time. Couldn't break it out cleanly, couldn't transition to the neutral zone, and then all of a sudden with 8 minutes left, they were like, let's turn this thing around. It's unbelievable.
And all 3 zones, they would lose puck battles in all 3 zones. They couldn't hang on to the puck. They couldn't keep the puck. They couldn't get the puck out cleanly. It was like, just watching it was really, really awful, to be honest. I was almost going to turn off, and I said, nah, you never know. Maybe we get a Leafy thing, and we got it at the end.
Oh, we got a Leafy thing.
So, but like I
Yeah.
said, we're definitely not out of the woods. I say that over and over when I come on. We're
Yeah.
not out of the woods. Let's get to. I think Christmas. Then these next set of games. I think will is going to tell us where this team is going to be at. But man,
Yeah.
if and then we haven't talked about Nylander. Nylander, in my opinion, is still lost. I mean, yeah, he was moving around a little bit in the first period, but my God, that power play, like he got to the blue line and he lost control of it not just once but twice, and then that last time he lost control of it, that was it. It was like it looked like my son's house league. Like I couldn't believe my eyes. Like
I know.
he just tried to cross the blue line and just overskates it or he lost the puck. I mean, this is William Nylander, right? I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell's going on with him. John Tavares has dropped off. I mean, of course, John. We don't expect John Tavares anymore with his contract, with his age. But you can't. I mean, there's some better consistency, and we're not really seeing that from him anymore either. And those are the guys, man. If they're not driving the bus, we have some problems. We're gonna have some problems.
Yeah. Yep. I can't disagree really. The power play. Um, the power play is another world, but I mean it's decision making and weak plays from guys that just lead to these opportunities as well. So I'm with you. With that, Mando, I'm gonna let you go. I got other callers on the line that I want to get
Okay,
to, so I appreciate the call here
no problem.
tonight. I
Thanks for
look
having
forward
me.
to hearing you again in the next post game show. And until then, enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, man. You too. See you. Bye.
All right, there you go. There's Mando on the post game show. We got more callers to get to. Let's go to the next one here on the line. Alex A. Alex, how you doing here tonight, brother?
I'm pretty good, Zach. Can't lie. How about yourself?
I don't know. Weird one. I think the ending of that game basically saves me from having my head explode on the post game show because had they not come back and won, I think we all agree this would have been very, very. This would have been a very, very different post game show. Because undeniably, and I don't know if people saw this game differently, I don't even know how. Like I saw somebody comment in the chat and was like, look at the deserve to win a meter. If the deserve to win a meter is this tonight, I mean, it might just be blackout drunk, but the Leafs, won the deserve to win a meter here tonight. If anybody can believe that,
No, you can't.
yeah,
There's no way. That's crazy.
yes. The Maple Leafs
Wow.
won the deserve to win a meter on this one. So 64.4% for the Maple Leafs. I mean, again, like this is one of those ones where I'm just going to have to chalk this up. This is just the third period where this comes into play, and this is all like at the very end of that game there where they pour it on. But the first and the second periods were pretty atrocious for the Maple Leafs. Disengaged, no intensity, no physicality. It was a rough one from start to finish, and then they turn it on with like 7 minutes left, and all of a sudden, there you go. We're back in this thing, and we win it. Yeah, it's a weird night for me.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, I didn't mean that towards the Leafs. I'm just saying in general, I'm having a pretty good day. But specifically towards the Leafs, I'm honestly just pretty pissed because, in that regard, I'm pretty pissed because these guys, like, for 50 minutes just didn't show up. Like, it was just, like, just effortless. Like, other than I'd say the bottom six, I feel like the bottom six, was playing hard on the forecheck and that sort of stuff. But, like, realistically, like, I just think they were just careless. Like they were just there. Like they were just skating. Even their effort on defense, like from the forwards, just kind of looked like they were just, oh, I'll stick my stick out there and try and get the puck. And if I don't, oh well. Like it just felt like, I don't know, like a half-ass effort. Like that's what it felt like to me. And then the last 10 minutes of the period of the third show up and they woke up. I don't know. It's
Which is like that's been their MO for years. Yeah. It's just it's unreal. And again, let's take it with a grain of salt. It's the Chicago Blackhawks without Connor Bedard.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, I predicted they'd win tonight and not in this fashion in the slightest. I thought if anything they should really send a message. Joseph Woll's back, they got beat their brakes out of by the Oilers. Like the Oilers beat us so bad. So you would think they'd come guns blazing, and that's the effort they put up. Like, sure, great, we got the 2 points. I'm not gonna knock them for getting 2 points, but it's how you got those 2 points that it's like, all right, great, cool, you got the result, but like there's no way is Berube really gonna go into the dressing room tonight and actually be happy about that game? I don't think so. But if he says the media is happy, I don't know what to say. Maybe he's been washed by the Leafs, like of how he reacts. I really don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I haven't seen any quotes. I'm just saying if that was the case, I'd be pretty upset myself.
Well, I would imagine that what he'll end up doing is going into the room and being happy about the win, saying it's not pretty, and then tomorrow is when they go through video and say, what the fuck was this? 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 Because there's a lot of what the fucks in this game tonight, whether it came from the defenseman, if it came from line 1 through 4, it didn't matter. There was a whole lot of what the fucks was going on. I just this game tonight, like there's not too much to take away that was positive. I can't imagine Craig Berube would be happy in the room right now, other than the fact that they win, because you could see him through 2.5 periods here tonight, basically doing everything he could to prevent his head from exploding.
Oh yeah, no, you could you could tell right away he was pissed. So like I don't, like I said, I don't think he will, like that he's not gonna address it, but take the positive of getting the win, and you know what, you got to move on to the next game and just be like, guys, like we cannot be like that. Like the ending, sure, like that effort at the end, sure, like take that into next game. Don't wait till minute 5 of the third, like left of the third period to be like that. That's what I can't stand, and it makes me want to pull my hair out, like just watching them. It's like, you guys have that in your arsenal, like. It's just really frustrating, and honestly, that power play, I cannot stand that. How the hell is Marc Savard still employed? I don't even care that we scored a power play goal to tie the game up. I genuinely do not know how that guy's still employed on the Maple Leafs. Like how? There's no way. We are what, the 30th power play in the league, or 31st? I think I can't remember what one it was. It doesn't matter. They're both terrible for the amount of talent you have. They're both terrible. Does Nashville have a better power play than us? Because if so, man, Marc Savard, you need to go to Hawaii or something. Like, get the hell out of here, man. Like, I genuinely don't know. If Nashville actually has a higher power play than us, I'm in, like, shock. I'm just throwing an example out there. They've been terrible. Nashville, too. Like, I don't know. I just know they're, like, low. I know the Leafs are really low, like 30th or 31st. Unless tonight brought it up a little bit, and that's what's keeping Marc Savard employed. I don't know.
I'm just trying to find. I'm trying to find if I can find the power play percentage here and see where they're at right now. Edmonton's in first, 32.6%. On the season, the Toronto Maple Leafs are in 30th. I don't know if that's updated after. Oh, that is updated after tonight. 15%. The LA Kings 14.3% and the Calgary Flames 14%. Which it's kind of funny because they are behind in the standings on the power, or they are just behind. Excuse me. The Carolina Hurricanes at 15.2% and the Colorado Avalanche at 15.3%, which you would not expect. But again, really? I mean, Alex, to your point. You start scoring a couple more of these power play goals, you're probably winning the game against Montreal that went to overtime. Maybe you win a game against San Jose that you lost in overtime. Like you pick up one more point in each of those, and then all of a sudden we're talking about a team who's currently sitting behind the New York Rangers, the Florida Panthers, the New Jersey Devils, the Pittsburgh Penguins, where the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens are sitting in your wild card spots 3 points ahead of you. That's an extra 2 points that you get. That's an extra point that you take away from Montreal. So now all of a sudden you are climbing yourself up the standings. Like, it's little things like that where you get the power play rock and you start scoring some goals, and all of a sudden you become a problem. You score when you have a man advantage. You play well defensively. You shut things down in your own zone, because if they can be on, they can be really on defensively, between the goaltending to the systems that they play. Like, they can really tighten it up. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what the fuck is going on with that power play. I have no answers anymore.
I don't think anyone does. I don't even know if Berube would be sitting there like. I don't think he even knows. He's sitting there watching those 5 guys go out there with all the money they make, and he's like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I know it's not him directly putting the power play out there, but he's looking there and he's like, how can these guys not figure it out? And
Yeah.
like, I don't know if it's the system that he's trying to Savard's trying to run the power play. I've honestly got no idea. They've tried so many different coaches and stuff, so I don't even buy it's that. I think they just need to figure it the hell out and like split the power play. I'm sick of seeing the same five guys in the power play. Or like same four, sorry. Maybe I shouldn't say five anymore. But same four. Because like at this point, like it's not working. Try and spread something else out. Like I don't know. Like just to try something different. Like why can't we try that? Like what's the harm? We suck anyways on the power play. Like what are you gonna lose?
Yeah.
What are you gonna lose? What, they're gonna be heartbroken? Like, that's what some of these fans in this chat I'm seeing. It's pissing me off, honestly. You got some soft fans in this organization. I honestly can't stand it. And I know you feel the same way, and I'm not going at everyone in the chat, but, like, I'm seeing some people's messages, and I'm like, what are you, like, is this some country club stuff? Like, because, honestly, you guys are the issues that, like, these players probably see you guys say this sort of crap online, and they're like, oh, like, it's the sort of things that Mitch Marner was saying. Oh, they think I'm a god. Like, what kind of, like, bro, like, we can't be serious right now. And I'm not trying to go on about him specifically, but it's just that whole environment. And I think that that's a whole culture leadership issue in itself that we've talked about plenty of times. And it just is very irritating because I, as you know, I stay pretty level headed usually, or try to. And like, I love this team. I love the players usually. I like to vouch for them and try and, give them the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to like seeing this year after year after year, and it's like, man, this is frustrating. Especially like someone like Auston Matthews we've talked about. It's frustrating to see what's going on with him, but you know what? I can't speak too much about it because who knows what the hell is going on, because the Leafs won't disclose any of that, and that's a whole PR or medical team or whatever's in that organization that's causing that to not be some more information given out about that. That's a whole other topic which we don't need to get into. So it's just frustrating. I do have a question about a player, if you don't mind asking. Like, I want to see what you thought of their games. And the whole team was obviously terrible up until those last 10 minutes. We got some bounces and stuff. What did you think of Scott Laughton's game? I don't think anyone has talked about him at all tonight to you. But like, I'm just curious, what did you think of his game overall? Just overall game.
Yeah, kind of funny you bring that up. And I mean, and not to pat myself on the back, but that was the one guy. Alberga said earlier nobody impressed him tonight. I said there was two guys who impressed me. Ekman-Larsson, who I thought looked steady and then was the guy to get them on the board there to kickstart the comeback, and the other guy was Scott Laughton. I mean, you look at the opportunities that came up for this team. You look at some of the close chances that they had. You look at some of the physicality. You look at the defensive game that came from him. Other than, the lost draw that comes from the Kaiser goal, Scott Laughton played really, really well. And I'm not really going to put that goal on Scott Laughton because he just lost the face-off. Like, it happens in a hockey game. But I thought Scott Laughton was awesome. I mean, he plays with intensity. He plays with passion. He plays with some vigor to him. We heard his comments after the last game on Saturday night. I'm glad that they put Scott Laughton out there, and I'm glad that they're putting him in front of the mics when things go poorly, because he's the first guy to say, this was not good enough, we have to be better, we can't let that happen, and kind of steps up and takes the lead of it. Like, Scott Laughton is a strong, positive voice in that locker room. He's a guy who takes accountability, and he's a guy who works his bag off, and like, he's the guy I kept noticing in this one. Almost scores a shorthanded goal, has the one he fires off the post at the side, has the one where he steals it and gets the power play for the Maple Leafs. Unfortunately, that's the one where that's the one where the Maple Leafs give up their own shorthanded goal, but he steals it in the neutral zone by out-muscling the guy and making a read and going in and then making a good move on the one-on-one to draw the penalty. Like, I thought Scott Laughton was really, really good tonight, and he's the guy who was on the ice in the late game situation when you're trying to close this one up one late in the third. It's Scott Laughton out there with John Tavares. So, I mean, I thought he was fucking awesome tonight. And you want to talk about negative Nancy's here. We come on and talk about a game where the Maple Leafs played fucking atrocious, and 6 1/3 has cried for the last hour and 28 minutes about how it's not been a very positive show. Shocking. And then now we're talking about Scott Laughton playing a good game, and he says Scott was very bad on the first Hawks goal. if we're talking about the Hawks goal that Kaiser scores where he just loses the draw and then Cowan gets tied up, I mean, I think you're just drunk like watching this right now, or just absolutely fucking smashing joints to your face right now to be thinking that that's the case. Like I thought Scott Laughton played an awesome game tonight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one thing I wanted to ask you too, you brought up actually him playing with Tavares. Do you think, like, I think personally that I think he should be moved up to like maybe the second line with Tavares just to try something different because that line hasn't been working. Would you be open to seeing that? And maybe I think the issue realistically on this, like getting him up there, lies upon Max Domi because they're trying to get him involved on the third line and stuff like that. Personally, I'd like to see Laughton moved up to that second line just to try something different. I think he's got the overall game to do it, and he did it in Philly. What do you think, like about that proposal? Like, I don't know what the exact line. If you have maybe a combination you could think of with JT and Laughton, like another guy to add to that. I don't know. I'm just thinking like ideas here, something other than being negative, since everyone here wants to cry about how we're too negative. But yeah, what do you think?
I like. In a perfect world, no.
Yeah.
I'd rather him not because I think he provides you the depth down the middle. And then, you just brought it up. You're basically saying, is Max Domi going to play as your 3C or your 4C? Because I don't want him playing center at all. I don't want him in my top 6. I don't want him playing center. I think a bottom 6 winger is fine for him, and I think he can blend into the game there. Unless your plan is to move money out and bring up a guy like Jacob Quillen to be your 4C and then kind of build around that. But Craig Berube was playing the guy for like 7 minutes, 6 minutes when he did come up. So, I mean, from that standpoint, I'm like, it's lacking. Like you don't have the depth. So no, but like, could I see it? Yes, I could see it because I could see Craig Berube just trying anything and everything to get something going. Do I think it would work? Yeah, I think it would work. I think he's responsible. I think he works his bag off. I think he's got some offensive upside, not as much as you'd probably like for a guy to be in your top 6, but if you're going to talk about like Scott Laughton or Bobby McMahon, I'm taking Scott Laughton. Scott Laughton or Nick Robertson right now, I'm taking Scott Laughton. And then I think if you're going to go balancing that line out, who else goes there? If you're not putting William Nylander on your second line because you want to load up your first line, I probably put Easton Cowan as my second line right winger with Scott Laughton. I think that they have some chemistry, and I like the way that line would potentially look, but I think in general, Scott Laughton probably helps the team more if he's on lower in your lineup, but in the short term, yeah, he could probably fit in that top 6.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I was just saying the whole situation you just brought up with bringing up Quill, and that's what I didn't really bring that up. That's who I would have said to call up, and I said it was a Max Domi issue because of the deployment of where you could put him with, limited roster spots and what we think he provides and all that, right? So, yeah, I don't disagree with you. Maybe, yeah, like you said, Scott Laughton, maybe with Cowan and Tavares, like I could see that maybe being something that could be interesting, but I doubt that's going to actually come to fruition at all. You never know, though. I mean, Berube might get desperate, especially with how the season's been going. So I just want to bring it up as an idea to you to see what what your opinion was on that. Because, what do we have to lose at this point?
No, exactly. You're right.
Right.
So, Alex, with that, I got more callers and I got some things to do to wrap up the show tonight. So I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you joining, calling, watching, participating in the chat, all of it. Look forward to hearing from you again in the next edition of Leaf Station after dark. I believe Thursday is the next game that the team plays. So hopefully I get to hear from you then. But until then, enjoy the rest of your night. And I don't even know. I was going to say like keep the positivity or something, but it's a tough one tonight, Alex.
I appreciate the brutal honesty with that, and I will try and make the most of my night. You have a good one, Zach. I appreciate you having me on again.
All right, there you go. Alex A. jumping on the post game again. We got more calls to get to here before we can wrap up the show tonight. Just quickly, super chats that I see coming in here right now, and some decent sized ones at that. Robert Bet with the super chat. Robert says, I think Berube is a good coach with this style, but if the team is not listening to him or won't play his style, unfortunately you have to fire the coach. It's great you guys are helping the kids. Bless you. Robert, thank you for the super chat. I saw people in the chat bringing this up, and like, this is where I have a problem. People are saying this is the wrong coach for these players. This is where I get frustrated, and it's not necessarily like a defense of Craig Berube, because Craig Berube might not be the perfect coach for this, and his style might be too far one way for this, but the way that this team played before, which is the way everybody is demanding that they go back to and so horny about them going back to, never worked. It never got them over the hump. They lost in round one year after year after year, other than 1 year where they cracked through Tampa. So, you look at the style Sheldon Keefe had, and I'm not blaming Sheldon Keefe. I'm more so making this a statement of the players. You look at the style he had, it didn't work. You try to bring in a guy who's going to say, hey, let's play this way, which is a little bit more suited to playoff hockey, in my opinion, just because, you watch these teams who are successful. They are very good at implementing these and executing on this north-south, more up and down, simple brand of hockey, because when you get to the playoffs, everything gets tighter and it's harder to be as creative and as fluid and as flexible. Like, I know you can say, well, people are going to be mad at that and say, like, well, these teams still play with creativity. They do, yes, but you need to be able to get drawn into it. And it's almost like they tried to go, like, beyond scared straight and be like, here, you have to play this style, to kind of get them to, like, learn what that was, and then try to whip them into some mold of what they were with the freestyle East-West, and then, like, a structured style of hockey. Because you watch them offensively in years past, they could never generate anything in the playoffs. They could never score in the top six specifically. And then when it mattered in games 5, 6, 7, they were basically just shut out every single game. Like, we watched them over and over and over again, and it would just get cut out. So I look at the coaching and I just think, this is more a statement on the players being incapable of playing a brand of hockey that helps you win in the playoffs. And again, I look at Mitch Marner, and I'm not talking about his play here. He's struggling in Vegas. Some of that probably is because you're going into a new team, a new environment, whatever, but he was gifted an opportunity to go there and also play with Jack Eichel. He's playing in the Vegas top six, and it just got taken away from him. Now he's on a different line. The points production's not there. The goal scoring is not there. And I'm not trying to do this as a shit on Mitch Marner. It's more so that's a team that very successfully plays a much more structured north-south, buy-in, and not be so whimsical, backhands, no looks, toe drag at the blue line style of hockey. It's much more committed, and that's a team that I would look at and want to model myself after. And Mitch goes there and he's struggling. And it's he's part of the nucleus of the players who had this issue year after year after year. Him, Matthews, seems like Nylander here now. They are guys who are struggling to adapt to do this. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, if it comes down to trying to win, you can see that these guys are going to struggle when it comes to that. Again, Mitch going to a different team and having the exact same issues when they are also a team who plays a more structured style. Bruce Cassidy coached in Boston, a team that beat the Leafs. Vegas, a team that would shit on the Leafs in years past. And now Mitch goes there and he can't find a way to fit into that style of hockey. Again, I'm just saying, the guys that you had here, all the guys that were put together, they're all showing signs they struggle to play that way. Maybe they just got to break through the mold. Maybe there was just too many of them together. Who knows? But the point more so being, they do have to learn to play much more similar to Berube's style, even if it's not all the way in. And to the point Robert brought up where they're not listening to him, maybe, but even whoever the next guy is that you would bring in after Berube is still going to have to make you play a more safe, simpler brand of hockey than what they've been accustomed to in years past, because that didn't work. It just didn't work. Next super chat here comes in from J-Rock. J-Rock. I'm not saying it again. You're not getting me twice, but thank you for the super chat, J-Rock. All right, continue on here. We got super chats. We did the super chats. I said the exact same thing as I did last time. Let's get to our guy, the Nylander Glazer, Noah G. What's up here, Noah?
Not too much.
Sorry for making you wait so long, brother. I saw that you were in there. It's been a long show here.
Nah, it's all good. getting caught up on all the post-game stuff, looking on IG and stuff.
What are you thinking right now? What are you seeing? Anything standing out? You sound down right now, man.
I
Worried
was a
about
little
you.
tired, a long day, but bro, I was excited. Like, I'm not trying to like be a hater or anything, but when the Leafs were down 2-0, they were playing like shit. I was like, I was gonna come on here and blow up, man. Like, you would be dying with what I was gonna say, bro. I was gonna be screaming at the top of my lungs, like for 30, like nonstop, bro. I would go all out. I was excited for that too, and then they come back and ruin my moment. Thanks, Austin. One time he decides to show up, but am I a
Yeah.
little down on this team? Like God, like I don't know, like they won, but I'm still like I'm sick of this team. Like I don't know what to say. I'm probably a hater. I don't know. People in the chat are gassing them up, but that is not an acceptable game. If that's against the Oilers, we lost that game 6-1. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Or if Bedard's playing, we lose that.
Yep.
Like it's brutal, man.
Yeah. I mean, this is part of the problem with them. It's a harsh reality, but I think it's part of the problem that we have here in the city is that what's transpired and the way that they've acted following losses. I'm not talking about like their personal lives or what they do away from the rink or anything like that, but the media availabilities that we've been given from them after games when they get shelled, and we all see that they get shelled, and the entire fan base is upset with what's happened and how things happened and all that. The response that we see from these guys publicly in these situations is always dead quiet, no looks on their, like, no emotion on their faces. There's nothing going on behind there. And again, like, these are just the moments you see publicly, but when you compare that to other players around the league, there is a significant amount of emotion and frustration on display by a lot of these guys. You know, the behind the scenes with McDavid, stuff of him and Draisaitl on the bench, snapping sticks, yelling at each other. The Florida Panthers getting down in games and yelling at each other and getting some internal competition going and fighting and being pissed off and holding each other accountable. You know, Sidney Crosby will do it on the bench as well. Evgeny Malkin will do it. Nathan McKinnon comes out in post games. These guys here in Toronto just come out and it's like a very lackadaisical approach. And, well, things were good and they just didn't go our way and we played well. And then it's like, how the fuck can you possibly say that about yourselves? How can you say that about what you just did on the ice tonight? And it seems like a lack of like self-realization and being self-aware where they just don't have that, or they just don't approach the media very well. And I think that at this point where we're at, the way that these guys have handled down situations and kind of just dismissed these lows, whether it's this season or playoffs past, that the fan base is obviously extremely upset about, rightfully so. They haven't seen wins and success in a very long time outside of regular season success. The way that this is just being dismissed by these guys, it's made them unlikable. Like, it's hard to root for the players on the team. It's easy for us to cheer for the Leafs because we are Leafs fans. You know, you cheer for the blue and white, the logo on the front of the jersey. So do I. The longer this goes, the longer you see this, it just becomes hard to get behind some of the individual guys on the team. You know, I'm a big supporter of Cowan and Laughton and Matthew Knies, and I'm not trying to say like I don't like Nylander or I don't like Matthews or I don't like Tavares or whatever, or don't like Morgan Rielly. It's just like the longer this goes, the lack of, you know, emotional engagement they show, the harder it is for me to be like, I resonate with that guy as a fan. I love the team. I want the team to win, but there is an element of frustration when it comes to that and for how long it's gone.
Yeah, man. Like I think back to when Austin scored tonight. He was pretty animated, which you like to see. Like he looked pumped. But man, like I used to love Austin Matthews, man. Like that's who I grew up watching. You know what I mean? Like, but man, I can't stand him. I don't know. I can't believe I'm saying that. Is that just crazy to say? Like, bro, like I'm on the phone with my friend. It's after the game, And he's like, "Oh, what are you gonna say now? What are you gonna say now?" Because I called him after the second intermission. I'm like, "I'm done with this team. Like, blow it up." That's literally my fantasy hockey name. I'm bursting on this week in fantasy. My name is Blow It Up. Trade Auston because I'm like fucking. I'm going nuts, man. And another funny part is when the Leafs post when Matthew scored, the Leafs posted on their IG
Mhm.
right where Poppy hides the cookies, right?
Yeah.
Those cookies are fucking stale, all right? Because it's been a while since he put the puck there, all right?
Yeah,
It's
I
been a
know.
while. Thing is, though, if Austin can get on a little stretch here where he puts that goal and maybe gets like a goal streak going, great. But man, this team, like right now, I was talking to my friend. I was like, this team, like at most, they're gonna go make the playoffs, but first round exit. Like I don't even know. Like this roster, this group of guys, this configuration of style of play is horrid. And I don't even think it's Berube's fault. I don't want him fired. Maybe I want Trey Levin fired. That's one guy. But I think Berube is not the problem. I think it's some of the players that are in this lineup every day, like Max Domi. We don't have a spot for him. That experiment is over. He was on the first line. Matthews didn't work. Second line with JT and Willie is just defensive liability. Like anywhere he plays, he's just invisible and is a waste of cap space. Brad needs to do something, and this team needs to figure out what direction they're going in.
Yeah, I don't know what to do because like I don't want to waste assets and stuff on a trade and then just continue to look at like this is again where it's nuts, Noah. Like Matthew scores that goal here tonight on the power play nonetheless, and he leads the team in goals now. Yeah, like how we're talking about Auston Matthews like this guy who's fallen off a cliff, and in all honesty, if you watch his play and if you watched what he did tonight for 50 minutes of this game, he did. I mean, Nick and I even referenced 8 minutes left in the third period, 2-on-1. It's the first time I've seen Auston Matthews carry the puck for an extended period of time. He picks it up in the neutral zone off a turnover. You're down 2-1, 8 minutes left, third period. He gets to the top of the circle, goes to like wind up like he's gonna crank that thing, outside, inside, the little toe drag release, and he fumble fucks the puck into the defenseman's feet. And I'm like, what the hell just happened here? But we're like talking about this guy, and it's an unbelievably weird spot to be in because I feel like there's part of me that thinks this is a bad team and you gotta fucking stop, and then there's a part of me that looks at this team and the players on this team and it's like, there's something in there that is just like, I can't quit it, The stars that you have in Matthews and Nylander, and the fact that Matthews is still finding ways to score randomly is weird. And then the fact that Oliver Ekman-Larsson is having this year, and the fact that your goaltending outside of Anthony Stolarz at the beginning between Joseph Woll and Dennis Hildeby, it's been good. And then you have Oliver Ekman-Larsson having that year with the injuries that you have because you're missing so many guys, and Troy Stetcher comes in and he's playing awesome. And it's like, there's all these weird pieces where it's like these things are all working, but then there's so many pieces that are just not. And I'm torn right now between do something to help these guys and shut it the fuck down. Let's get out of here and wrap up this season and let's try again next year. So I don't know what to do right now.
Yeah, to reference on that, I'm not saying go buy like the Quinn Hughes type of trade. Obviously, I would have loved something like that. But I'm just saying, like, make a move, do something. You know what I mean? Like, get Domi and Michelli off this roster. I really want to see Michelli get another chance because I have a feeling they're going to trade him to Boston. You see all the rumors of Boston. He's going to go play on a land. Pastrnak turns into a 60-point player, and like, and we get clowned again, even though everybody wanted him gone. You know what I mean? But like, give
Yeah.
him one more chance, I would say, because I don't want Willie on the top line with Austin. They don't like each other. You can clearly tell. You know what I mean? There's no chemistry with those two guys anymore. Put Michelli one more game. Just give him one game just to prove himself. I think so. Just give him that chance. Oh, and sorry, if people wanted me to call Austin Austina. I saw that on the weekend. That's my bad. The guy who said Austina. Credit to you, man. But yeah, I don't know. I saw rumors about Mason Marchman. I've been waiting for it, but it's Brad. He doesn't do fuck all when it comes to offensive players.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, we talk about. You want to talk about? I opened the show by saying this team leads the league in stupid fucking team when we come here and talk about it post game. They also lead the league they're in on this guy. Marchment, Anderson, Peterka, Marchand, name the fucking player. They're in on the player. So I don't know what is actually close and what's not. Seattle's in a weird spot there. I'll say that for anybody like who's not tracking the rest of the league. Seattle's now 500. They started the season hot. They were in a playoff spot. They're 2-7-1 in their last 10 games. They're minus 19 goal differential. And they're falling off a cliff here. They're probably going to start to have to make some decisions here soon. I think they got a lot of pieces that they just don't know what they are. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to go out and get that piece, but yeah, I don't know. No, I don't know how realistic it is.
Zach, I'm gonna say I'm one of those guys who say they're in on everybody. My friends clown me every day because I'm like, oh, I want this guy. Brad, get on the phone. I want this guy. I need this guy. You know what I mean? I'm one of those guys. You know what I mean? The Jays are turning, not the Jays. The Leafs are turning into the Jays when remember the Jays? They're on Ohtani. They don't get him. They're on Soto. They don't get him. That's the Leafs now. They're on Anderson. They're in on Marchment. I saw something about Alex Tuck. They're not getting Alex Tuck. What assets do we have? You know what I mean? I would love it. I even went on, I followed Tage Thompson on Instagram. I commented, come to Toronto, bro. I'm begging over here. I would love Tage Thompson, but it's not going to happen. There's rumor. I keep on seeing people, Tage Thompson, Toronto. Never going to happen. What do we have to give up? Nothing. But I think this team are going to have to find little pieces to build with, kind of what Florida had of those fourth liners who were nothing. They turned into something. I saw Reichel. You see how he, not what happened with his situation in Vancouver. He's going to be a 5th round pick. Just do it. Berggren went on waivers. He got claimed. Toronto couldn't have claimed him. I get it's the waiver wire and stuff, but the Leafs need I'm not going to go ask them to go get a.
Oh yeah, quickly on the waiver thing, Noah. Sorry, just for people when there's a lot of times I see this and it bothers me a little bit. People will be like, "Why didn't the Leafs claim that guy?" There's an order in the waiver wire, so the team ahead of you could put in a claim and you don't get it, and then that's it. You don't just get to try to get the guy and then it's well, why didn't Brad try? If the guy goes on waivers, everybody else who's ahead of you in line can try to get the player too. So it's not just oh, well, why didn't we get him? Prague coming in here being why didn't they get this guy off waivers? He does it every fucking time, and it's well, there's other teams that can get that player ahead of you too. If the guy clears, sure, fair argument. But yeah, yes, I know what you mean. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, I had to tell that I literally explained that to my friend the other day last week, I think a couple of weeks ago, when John Beecher was on waivers. He was oh, I remember when he scored against the Leafs in Boston. I was bro, Calgary claimed them because they're way worse than us. You know what I mean? They got the opportunity to before us. But still, as I was saying, the Leafs need to find those little pieces to work with to try to move up, or just sell the guys you don't use. Sell Carlo. You know what I mean? You could probably still get something for him. Or I don't know. The Leafs need to do something. Brad doesn't, and it's really pissed me off. I had a little note here. Brad doesn't do anything to do with skilled players, and it's really annoying, man. You look at the guys. Ever since Brad came here, he's made great moves when it came to goaltending, when it comes to defense. You got those big shutdown guys. When you think about offensive players he's brought to Toronto that have actually worked out and are skilled and could score, there's 3 guys who come to mind. And one of them's gone. Easton Cowan, which he drafted him, his first week on the team. Mm-hmm. Dakota Joshua, and then one of them's gone, Tyler Bertuzzi. Laughton too, I guess, but he's not more of an offensive guy. He's more of a just energy guy. You know what I mean? But the Leafs need skill. They have no skill. I see people saying they're a skill team. They're not. Auston Matthews is not Auston Matthews anymore. Willie Nylander is the most inconsistent player, and I love Willie. One night he looks like Connor McCabe. The other night he looks like I don't even know. David Camp. Yeah, literally. Oh my, perfect. The Kyle Yarncroke, but that doesn't even play defense. I don't know, but as I said, the Leafs need skill. They need to find it quick because if they play like this against Colorado, yeah, it won't look too pretty.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, Noah. With that, I'm gonna let you go.
Yep.
I appreciate you jumping on here on the post game as always. Look forward to having you on in the future. Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Any final thoughts before you leave?
Yeah, I kind of wish I got to blow up after that game. I did on Saturday. That was pretty funny. Like I had a couple of my friends watch. They were dying of laughter. You know what I mean? I was going on there shredding the Leafs and shit. But all right, Zach, have a good night, bro.
All right, see you, Noah. I appreciate you, and maybe you'll get an opportunity to shred them or be super excited in the future. And he's gone. All right, thanks to Noah for jumping on. I think that's it, Fro. We might have, we got one more caller here. One more caller. Let's get to him here right away. Let's welcome to the show, for the second time ever, the man, the myth, the legend, now known as Little Willie Styles. Will, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how you doing?
I am okay.
You sound pretty down, man.
I am pretty down, Will. That was a tough
Yo,
game
man.
for the Maple Leafs. That was a tough game. I'm glad that they won, but it was a tough game.
Win's a win. I think Auston Matthews is being a pussy.
You think so?
I think he needs. He's you can.
That's your
just
Team
see it,
USA
even
captain, buddy.
Oh, trust me, Team USA. I would put Quinn Hughes as captain the way he's been playing.
Fair enough. All right. Why do you feel that way about Auston Matthews?
I just think he's injured. Probably, he's got to be injured. Or
Yeah.
I don't know what's going. You can just see it, and just by hearing and seeing online that he's definitely injured. Either he needs to maybe sit a game, or he needs to just get healthy. But sounds like health is big for him.
Yeah, it does seem that way, Willie. It does seem that way. I don't know about sitting a game because I feel like this is a bigger issue than that. We did see him sit earlier, came back, still kind of looked the same. We saw him take a summer off, came back, still kind of looked the same. So I don't know if that could be necessarily the issue, but the resolution, I mean, just by sitting one game. But yeah, definitely seems like he's injured right now, Will. I'll give you that.
Other than that, maybe take the C.
Take the C from
people
him.
have said,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw people in the chat saying that. I did see people in the chat saying that.
the question is, who would you give it to?
Back to
Knies?
Tavares.
No.
You give it back to Tavares,
Yes.
Willie. Yeah, you give it
Yes,
back to
back
Tavares.
to Johnny T.
Yeah. Willie, what else you got for me here tonight? What do you think about the Maple Leafs in this game?
Morgan Rielly give up pizza? Probably. I was watching the Wild game, to be honest with you.
So you don't even know what happened?
I just called in to say hi.
Oh, I appreciate that, Willie. I appreciate that. All right, well, I got some stuff to do to wrap up the show. I am glad to hear from you, so I appreciate that. How'd the Wild do?
They won 5-0.
Wow, look at that. The Wild are a wagon, buddy. You got a wagon in your own backyard.
Quinn Hughes had a point, and then I think he was plus 2 or 3.
Not bad. Not bad.
He was
Not a bad night. For you, that is. Not so much for Leafs Nation.
It was against the Capitals, too.
Wow. What a performance.
Yeah.
That's big stuff, buddy. That's big stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Willie. Well, I'm going to let you go here. I got some stuff to do to wrap
See you
up the
guys.
show tonight, but
Thanks
I
for having me.
appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. Enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the rest of the
Will
hockey.
do. See you tomorrow.
Yep, sounds good, Willie. See you tomorrow, buddy. Appreciate it. There you go. Little Willie on the post-game show. Always good to hear from Little Willie, so appreciate him jumping on here tonight. We got some stuff to do to wrap up the show tonight. Let's first go to our Best Bet segment. Best Bet is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary on Bet365. Must use code NATION, NATION. That's code NATION, NATION. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Another game, another loss on the best bets. This one, we go down 5.9 units on the year. William Nylander, anytime goal, does not come up for us. We fall short on that one. Unfortunate, but, I can't even say like good process or anything. William Nylander was not necessarily the most offensive guy on the ice here tonight, was not very dominant when it came to the ozone. We saw a pretty terrible turnover from him. I don't know if the guy's still sick or what the hell's going on, but not the best game from William Nylander offensively here tonight, and that means we lose our bet. I thought he would be all fired up playing with Matthews and Knies, and it doesn't happen. So, another half unit bet lost, down 5.9 units on the year, and we got a battle back on Thursday for game 33. With that, let's get to our next segment. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Again, thank you to our friends at Uber Eats for continuing to sponsor the show, be a part of the postgame. It is greatly appreciated. Uber Eats helped me out here yet again tonight. I cannot be more thankful for Uber Eats. To wrap up a long day, got at it working this morning early and was going at it until about 6:30 p.m. And I all of a sudden looked around and went, uh-oh. I've got to get dinner. I don't have time to get anything. I don't have time to make anything. So I whip up Uber Eats. I order something to my house. And next thing you know, it's there within like 20 minutes of me ordering. It is the perfect helper for someone like myself who is super busy and can order dinner in a jiffy on Uber Eats. Quick, easy. You got to appreciate our friends over at Uber Eats. And Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins, if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Every time the Leafs are playing at home, you can get these exclusive deals in Toronto only on Uber Eats. Firehouse Subs, the Bogo Brisket Hat Trick, Kibo Sushi, the Bogo California Roll, Shelby Shawarma, the Bogo Traditional Wrap. Bogo, of course, is buy one, get one. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Our Crave the Stats presentation of today, our stat of the day, is going to go to the Deserve to Win-O-Meter, which I still cannot begin to wrap my head around here tonight. The Deserve to Win-O-Meter, 35.6%. I mean, that's for the Blackhawks. 64.4% for the Maple Leafs. In what world? This is where looking at this is just like shocking. I get that Deserve to Win-O-Meter is based on for the most part here, expected goals. Like, I'm just chalking this up to there was a couple of one-offs for the Maple Leafs where they had some decent chances that took place that were like, okay, they had a chance on that. It was a high expected goal opportunity, and then that's it. Like, this is, to me, looking at the Maple Leafs shot chart on Money Puck, this is where analytics and like these charts lose me. Like, here's the Leafs all spread out, some outside the blue line. There are ones from the corner, from the sides. There's a couple in front. This game was never in the Leafs' control. This game was never a comfortable one. It never felt like they were going back and forth. It never felt like a fair battle. Like, I just felt like this team was getting pumped from beginning to finish until like 10 minutes left in the third period. So if most of these chances and expected goals come from late in the game, which some of these here do, then sure. But outside of that, like, I just cannot begin to agree with tonight's deserve to win a meter. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, this is where Prague coming to the chat and being like, all caps, Cowan 30% expected goal share, ha 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 ha, is like, this is your chart, man. Like, this is what you're coming here to support and back and talk about how awesome it is. Like, yeah, I'm not going to pretend like Easton Cowan had a great night, but, the guy he wants to argue for every night, Max Domi, was right there with him. And yet, like, this chart, this is the type of chart that's also telling us that the Leafs deserve to win this game. In what world? In what world did the Toronto Maple Leafs deserve to win this game tonight? I can't. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, let's get out of here on the final thing. Let's do our grade of the game, and let's wrap up the show tonight. Grade of the game for me, I want to know what you guys are at, so send yours in the chat there. But grade of the game for me is going to be a C. You came back, you won, you didn't quit. Joseph Woll was really good. You scored on the power play. Auston Matthews is on the board. Nylander has 2 points. Like, if you don't win, this is an F. I don't know what about this game is redeemable. Like, I don't know what about this game you take and look at for the next one and say, those were positives, let's do that, other than, like, the last 7 minutes. You played well for the final 7 minutes and you won the game. You were awful for the first period. You were awful for the second period. You were awful for most of the third, and then you won the game. This is not a game they should be proud of. You could be happy that you won, but I can't imagine getting on that plane right now to go, or getting on the plane in a couple days, or driving home after this one and being like, this was a good one. We really did it tonight. Like, that third period flurry is what gets you more shots. You did out-hit them, so that's a positive. You won on the face-offs, which they've been winning pretty much every game at that point, or at this point. You didn't give up a penalty kill goal. You went 1 for 3. Like, some of these numbers look good. It's hard to deny. But the power play was atrocious other than scoring the 1 goal. You gave up a shorthanded goal. Joseph Woll was good. Laughton was good. I don't know. Messy game. I'm a C. Like, you should have failed. You've turned it on for 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and you won. That's all I got. All right, that'll do it for me. I appreciate everyone who tuned in here tonight. Another 2-hour show. Thanks to Nick Alberga. Thanks to all the callers here tonight. Mando, Alex A, Noah G, Little Willie Styles. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. But thanks to everybody who sent super chats. I think we got all of them here tonight. That was over $100. Oh, Maxentius Decimus. It's crazy to think they wake up and care so little. Max, I am right there with you. The last thing before we wrap this up, we hit 100 likes. So thank you guys for watching, liking, subscribing. If you didn't already, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. Here's the smelling salts for hitting 100 likes on the stream. All right, there you go. 1 game left in the Prague suspension. 1 game left. Prague has now served two games. The poll is just. The poll has voted every night that Prague still suspended, buddy. You're still suspended, Prague. With that, I'm out of here. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing. The Maple Leafs win this one 3-2 in regulation in dramatic third period comeback against the Chicago Blackhawks. Gross, but they got it done. 15, 12, and 5 on the season. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Till then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and